Peggy, on behalf of Rogers Gardens, I would like to heartily congratulate you on being our grand prize winner for the California Friendly Design Contest for 2017. You have made a beautiful garden.
Thank you very much.
We'd like very much to hear about how you began the garden, how you transitioned, and what were your focus points on building your garden as it moved along.
Well, when we bought the house in '96, it was the original landscaping from 1972, which was lawns and hedges, very water thirsty, lots of jungle type foliage in the courtyard. And my first idea was to get rid of some of that so we wouldn't be consuming so much water. When it got to the front yard, we were in the middle of the drought and we needed to get rid of the turf because the turf was just not doing well and it was taking up too much water. So although the California natives that I had planted, some of them required no irrigation, one of my focuses was to minimize the requirements in the front. We wanted to use the plants that were here that made sense, and especially the juniper and the torrey pines act as a backdrop to the rest of the garden. And they're very established, so they require very little water. So it was a no-brainer to keep them there. Mm-hmm. And then another compartment in the front yard was some of the original native plantings that I did. The manzanita has been there for 10 or 15 years now. Many of the California natives I planted had a very sprawling, unruly, but beautiful kind of a look to them. But in the front yard, I wanted something with more architecture, more tidiness, more manageable. I did not want it to look overplanted.
You're enjoying now the seasonal changes in your garden more than you used to.
Yes, the garden is at its peak in the early spring, March, April, May. But year-round, there's flowers of some sort. And so in the front yard, I wanted to minimize the areas that needed to be irrigated, but I wanted to hide it from sight because I wasn't interested in seeing drip tubing across the beds of my landscape. So we decided in putting the path in, that would reduce the area that needed to be irrigated. And if we did the beds with weed cloth and put the drip underneath it, it would be very neat and tidy appearance. It would also preclude weeds from having to be pulled all the time, which was initially something I discovered early on. And so that's what we did. And we have reduced our water use to 25% of what we used to use when this was lawn. And another thing to consider is that the California natives and other plants, they need to have their roots develop deep. So deep watering with the drip, I think, is key to keeping this landscaping going on a long-term basis. As soon as I planted sages and other things around parts of our house that when I initially got started, I immediately noticed that we had more hummingbirds, we had more butterflies and more bees, and more types of songbirds too. And the songbirds would forage in the mulch at the base of the plants looking for seeds and grubs, and it just brought a whole host of interesting, beautiful creatures to look at and enjoy.
Peggy, on behalf of the Rogers Gardens family, we want to thank you very much for participating in our California Friendly Garden Contest, and congratulations on being our grand prize winner for creating such a gorgeous garden and being a good example for your neighborhood and the people around.